Hello everybody, welcome to another video of Timotheus Media and TV. I'm Tim Wright, your namesake for Timotheus. Timotheus is Greek for Timothy, and it means to honor God. Anyways, let's have us a little interesting chit-chat over coffee. Let's talk about the Neuralink that Elon Musk is developing. It's quite an exciting venture, to say the least. Let me turn the audio off on my phone. Today I want to go over the pros and cons. I want to go over some of the technical things, and then also take a look at the possibilities for the future. And so that's what I'm looking at right now. I've got a little, or actually 3 Google searches up. And let's just start out with the first thing that I searched, and that is how many connections does the Neuralink have in the brain? Now, while we're going into that, I just want you to know that the FDA has approved X or Elon to actually start human trials, and that raises some red flags, if you ask me. But let's just take a quick look at how many connections that this thing has in the human brain. The Neuralink, in a white paper, said that it has 3,000, look right here, 3,072 electrodes per array, distributed among 96 threads. Now, if you take a look again at this little thingy right here, up in the upper left-hand corner, that has 96 threads with 3,072 connections into the brain. And take a look at the picture on the right. That Neuralink sits right on top of the skull. So that's, as of right now, that's what it would look like. It is not a flat unit that sits on the brain. It is an actual port at about 1/2 inch off of the skull. Each probe contains 48 or 96 wires, of each which contains 32 independent electrodes, making a system of 3,072 electrodes per formation. That is a lot of connections to the brain. It's a lot of connections to the brain sitting right here. How is this implant done? How does it happen? Well, they say that robots will perform the procedure, and we're going to take a look at a video of a robot performing the procedure on a mannequin.
And in fact, because we've never shown an end-to-end insertion of a robot in action, we're going to do a live demo of the robot doing surgery in our brain proxy. So who wants to see some insertions?
Yay, let's see some. This is a human being.
So
anybody step up,
that's our
have your
R1
Neuralink.
robot with our patient Alpha, who's lying comfortably on the patient bed.
Until he starts twitching.
This is what we call the targeting view. So what you're seeing is, this is a picture of our brain proxy. And the pink represents the cortical surface that we want to insert our electrodes into, and the black represents the vasculatures that we want to avoid. And what you're seeing is these hash marked with numbers that represents where we intend to put each of our threads. So should we see some insertions? So this is another view real quick. On the left is the view of the insertion area, and on the right, what the robot's going to do is it's going to peel the array, the threads, one by one from its silicon backing and insert it into the targets that we predetermined in the targeting view. So
the silicone layers would actually be your skull. So it's going to peel back your skull and connect all of these connections to areas in your brain.
There you go. That's the first insertion. So we're going to see a couple more insertions. The whole process of inserting about 64 threads in our first product is going to be around 15 minutes for this robot. So yeah, there's a second one that went in, and we're going to do a third one. There you go. And then that's going to go in the background, and we'll come back to it in the later part of the presentation.
I don't know about you, but that kind of reminds me of hooking up my nail gun to my air compressor and popping a few nails. That's just kind of what it reminds me of. Anyways, let's continue this little video. It's almost done.
And as Elon mentioned, we've been working very hard to go from prototype to building product. As part of this, one of the things that we did is to move our device manufacturing to a dedicated facility in Austin for scale-up manufacturing. And what's important to highlight, and is evident in this clip, is that it's very typical for us to have our engineers who design also work on the physical manufacturing line to build and debug. And this has been extremely, extremely critical in reducing our iteration cycle time. And we've also scaled up our surgery. So we now have a dedicated, our own OR, in fact, a double OR in Austin. And this is just a stepping stone before we eventually build our own Neuralink clinic. So with this product, N1 and R1, our initial goal is to help people with paralysis from complete spinal cord injury regain their digital freedom by enabling them to use their devices as good as, if not better, than they could before the injury. And as Elon mentioned, over the last year, this has been the central focus of the company. And we've been working very closely with the FDA to get approval and to launch our first in-human clinical trial in the US, hopefully in the next 6 months.
Okay, so notice what he said at the last. Our goal is so that people with spinal injuries can utilize their devices easier. You see, everybody thinks that this device is going to heal them of their spinal cord injury or injuries. Let me explain something to you right now. If the connection is broken in your spine, there is nothing that can be fixed from your brain to your muscles and your nerves by implanting a chip in your brain. Why is that? Because if you have, let's say, a spine break here. And your brain is here, and it is sending waves down your spine. And now you implant a chip in your head, and it sends impulses or whatever down your spine. How is it supposed to reach your nervous system and your muscles if this is still broken? Don't misunderstand what's going on. This implant cannot fix that injury. Okay? He flat out said, our goal is to create a direct link from the injured person's brain to the devices that they use. That is the goal. And that is exactly all that they can do with that particular injury. Now, I'm not talking about other injuries. So, what else are they looking to be able to do? They are also looking to, this gave me about 15 of the same things here. Elon is reporting that the only way to survive the future or to survive and compete with AI is to actually link up to it. But let's get into that in a minute. I don't know why this thing is doing this. My tabs disappeared again. So one thing that they're trying to, or several things that they're trying to fix, is schizophrenia, Parkinson's disease, what do you call it? Seizures, and things like that. Now, that is a possibility because the body has all of the links intact. So that's a possibility. Spinal injury? No. But again, what are the cons to, or the negatives to having an implant? So let's take a look at this. I Googled this, the pros and cons of the Neuralink on humans. And according to certain sources, back in 2022, the Neuralink was accused of killing monkeys by cutting out parts of their skull and inserting electrical equipment into their brains. And another problem that they have noticed happening is that they say that there is a possibility of the Neuralinks migrating from where they've been implanted into other areas of the brain. Well, that just makes sense, especially if the person that you are implanting this has seizures and they fall down. Notice that bump on their head is a half an inch up in their, a quarter inch to half inch up into their out off of their skull and it rests off their skull. But what if they have seizures and they're thrashing around, or Parkinson's disease and they're fidgeting, or the person's walking, and these probes, every time it is jarred, is being sent further and further and further into the brain. Just like a nail, when you run over a nail with a tire, or a screw with a tire, or something metal with a tire, every time a tire goes around, it's being driven further and further and further into your tire. That would create a lot of problems if those probes are sent into areas of the brain that the Neuralink is not programmed to interface with. And it sends data and impulses into areas of the brain that tells the brain to do something to an area of the body that the Neuralink is really not focused on sending directions to. So let's explain it this way. So let's say the Neuralink is trying to send data through the nervous system to the hand to make the hand function like this. But because the probe has migrated into another area of the brain, it is sending the impulses to do this from your right hand, or for your right hand, actually into your right or left foot and toes. So now you got your toes curling and your foot bending. What if that impulse or that data is being sent into your butt cheek? Oh boy, you're going to squeeze it off real good then. What if it's being sent into your eye? What if it's being sent into your mouth? You see, we've got potentially all kinds of problems because apparently these probes are not anchored to where they have, let's say, and you can't just say have a retaining washer to where that probe can just go so far. I guess unless you made that probe retaining anchor set on the edge of the brain, just under the skull. But because it doesn't have that as of yet, every time you jar it, it's changing. It's changing depth and projection. That's just one possible negative or con. But let's talk about Elon saying that Neuralink is the only way to survive and compete with artificial intelligence. The genius behind SpaceX and Tesla Inc. has declared that humanity must embrace the merging of man and machine. He wants you to become a Borg or a cyborg. If we hope to survive in a world dominated by artificial intelligence, dominated by artificial intelligence. I'm going to tell you what I think. I think that is a distinct possibility. Domination by artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence is growing itself exponentially. It is learning faster than any human could possibly learn in quantum quantum physics and beyond, in quantum data and beyond. And I don't know the proper definitions of beyond quantum physics, But the growth in this engineering and this artificial intelligence learning, both on electrical engineering and on artificial intelligence, is growing so fast that there has been warning after warning after warning about the threats that this poses. And Elon here is saying that it is going to dominate the world. It is what he is calling survivability in a world dominated by artificial intelligence. In a 2018 appearance on the Joe Rogan Experience, Musk teased his company Neuralink has something exciting in store for us. He believes his technology will allow humans to achieve a status of symbiosis with AI. That would be a coexistence with AI. I don't know about you, but I really don't want to coexist and cohabitate as an equal or an underling to artificial intelligence. And at this point in time, they are not going to keep a handle on artificial intelligence. I'm going to tell you that right now. They're not going to keep a handle on it. Where we'll be able to effortlessly combine our brains with computers. Neuralink has been developing brain implants since 2016 with the goal of curing conditions like paralysis and blindness. The problem that I see, first off, is that right from the start, they have had issues of injuries with their animal trials to the tune of 80%. But yet the FDA has approved human trials and we are jumping from an 80% problematic issues with animal trials into human trials, and that is literally going to pose a big time problem. And then you're talking other issues, excuse me, causing problems where there has been, I don't know why it dumped my link, where they say that the problems are causing everything from all the things they're trying to solve to include depression and long-term nerve issues. So why in the world are they going to start with human trials? I find it interesting that links of articles that say they're going to explore both the pros and cons of the Neuralink, in fact, really only cover what Elon says are the pros. There is little to no discussion about the cons. That ought to be a red flag in and of itself. If you're going to evaluate the pros and cons of the Neuralink, evaluate the pros and the cons. You'll be hard-pressed to find certain articles that actually objectively do both. So with this particular article, let's see what it has to say. and take a quick look at this. I don't know what this will do. Get rid of that. In this particular article, the pros and cons to the Neuralink. And I'm getting bombarded by the pop-ups. It is crucial to note that many of these advantages and disadvantages may change as this technology advances and becomes more widely used. As a result, they may not be most important pros and cons, but rather ones that people are currently concerned about. Yeah, concerned about for the future, for now and the future. Pros. Number 1, potential for restoring impaired senses and mobility with Neuralink. The Neuralink technology has the potential to revolutionize medical treatments in animal health. It has the potential to restore, impaired sight or movement. That is a distinct possibility, as well as assist people suffering from paralysis. I don't know if it's a break in the spine. I've already explained that. Cognitive impairment, that is true, and other neurological diseases. Furthermore, some have proposed that Neuralink implants can improve thinking capacity by providing faster access to information and open the door for potential such as expanding consciousness beyond traditional areas of intellect. Well, you got that right. It's going to expand the area of thinking beyond what we have now, because it's going to open the door for somebody to dump information into your brain such as what they want you to have. Now let me just go on by saying this. We had a discussion, or I had a discussion with another person, and they brought up the conspiracy possibilities and theories of how they have been using vaccines to create a society of autistic people, preparing them for this brain implant implementation. Why? Because if you create a society of people that has an area of open brainness that is not cluttered by human thinking, then you have less to deal with when you implement an implant in a broad spectrum of people. In other words, you don't have the human thinking to go through or around when you go to dump information and data into the brain, because those areas have already been dealt with by creating autism through vaccines. So, did you follow that line of thinking? If you have a segment of population whose neural links within their brain and their neural paths within their brain do not create cognitive thinking on the scale of the average person to genius, then there is less clutter to burrow through or to go around when you implant the chip to dump data into their brain. In other words, you can make them do what you want them to do twice as fast without that individual thinking on their own to contend with and fight the data that is being dumped into that individual. The conspiracy is that they've created autism for that purpose. Just something to think about. I'm not saying that's the case. I'm not saying that that's a reality. I'm saying that has been a discussion. Because it has been known that autism is linked to various vaccines. It's just simply something to think about. So, keep that in the back of your hat. There are in this day and age, the possibilities are endless. You can't trust anybody. I don't think. I'm not trusting anybody that I don't know. Particularly when we have watched global governments, governments of nations, literally play psyops on their entire population over the last 2 decades. So let's continue this particular article. Number 2, revolutionizing communication through Neuralink. The Neuralink could allow individuals to express their thoughts more efficiently and correctly than ever before, using nonverbal gestures, words, or visuals to overcome existing language obstacles. So let's explain that one for just a moment. Let's say you have a person that has a speech impediment. And the Neuralink would send impulses of your thinking to your mouth, your tongue, and your vocal cords to correct your speech impediment. That's a distinct possibility. But let's take this a step further. Let's say that, notice it says, let's go there after this. The other possibility, it says, is to have nonverbal gestures. So let's say you want to communicate with a deaf person who doesn't have the Neuralink to correct their hearing. So your thinking would automatically turn into sign language that is pristine. That's a possibility. But what if it doesn't work and your communication is reduced to that of sign language of a chimpanzee? That's also a possibility. Did you think about that? By the way, how's our discussion over coffee going? I hope you're enjoying your coffee. The other possibility is if you were to travel to a foreign land, a foreign country, and the Neuralink could automatically translate your language into whatever language is present in the country that you are visiting. That is a distinct possibility. Now, let's go into the land of conspiracy. Let's just say that we are presented with ET aliens, which I contend are demonic, fallen angels morphing as aliens. But let's say, while they could put thoughts into your brain, because we are now talking of the spiritual realm or spiritual dimensions that we can't see physically, tweaking our minds, and we know that's a possibility from a biblical point of view, or they present themselves in our dimension, we know that's a distinct possibility due to the accounts in the Old Testament of angels visiting Abraham, as well as Sodom and Gomorrah, as well as Daniel, as well as Ezekiel and Isaiah. But also in the New Testament, when they presented themselves to Joseph, Mary, Zechariah and his wife, as well as Joseph and Mary, as well as the shepherds tending their flock by night, and Hebrews saying that we entertain angels unaware. But let's say, according to Rick Wiles, who says that this artificial intelligence, and he said 10 years ago that this was on the horizon for 2030, along with all this other stuff we're seeing. And as crazy as you want to think that Rick Wiles is, he wasn't wrong either. While everybody scoffed him, saying that his research and him going to symposiums, 10 symposiums around the world on this stuff that is also linked to the 5G and everything else that they're doing, it's all linked together, to include artificial intelligence in his reports on that, saying that artificial intelligence will be inhabited by demonic beings. So up to that point of him saying that, he has not been wrong. He has been proven correct. And also their goals of 2030 are 5 years ahead of schedule. So that's an interesting thing, since we're coming up to 2025 rather quickly. So what if you could take the Neuralink and artificial intelligence being inhabited by spiritual beings speaking to you and you speaking back to them without any vocal interaction whatsoever, all mental? That means those entities could control you and tell you what to do via artificial intelligence without anybody else being the wiser, because they can't hear you in those conversations. Not only that, artificial intelligence with other implants could shut their cognitive receptors off and shut them down like robots, while it's telling you or somebody else connected to artificial intelligence through the Neuralink anything that it wants to communicate to you. Folks, that's a distinct possibility. You just stop and think about that over your coffee for just a few minutes. That is a distinct possibility. How are those thoughts for interjecting a little bit of futuristic nightmares into your sleep patterns? Let's continue on with this article. Unlocking insight with Neuralink in commercial applications. Furthermore, it has potential commercial applications such as enabling faster, more accurate access to technology, allowing users to obtain information not available through traditional means. Yeah, you could talk to potential clients through the internet, through satellite connections, for the sake of cutting deals without getting on an airplane or even making a phone call. Or it could make a phone call through your smart device, through Siri or Amazon's Alexis, or simply through connecting to your phone and making a call or sending digital information and packets of information, as well as contracts, and have you sign them via you thinking in your brain, your signature, contract signed, boom. It's deposited into another digital folder and the contract is sealed. That's an interesting spin on artificial intelligence and the Neuralink. That includes problem solving with brain assist. Now let's talk about some cons. Potential for misuse and abuse of the brain chip implant. There is a potential for abuse and misuse, but it is true of all technologies. Oh yeah, let's normalize the possibilities of misuse of a Neuralink stuck in your brain. Let's talk about that for just a minute. There is a distinct difference between technology misuse that is external of your body. You can shut off your tablet, you can shut off your computer, you can disconnect your Wi-Fi to the modem that is reaching out to the internet. You can shut off your cell phone, and if somebody is interjecting poison into your brain via speech or whatever, you can simply walk away. It'll be a little bit harder to do if you've got a Neuralink implanted into your brain and you're not in charge. Pure and simple. Number 2, limited accessibility to cutting-edge brain chip implant. It's expensive. It's not that expensive. They're talking $3,000 to $7,000 when you break it all down. Considerations for impact on daily life. Once fully implemented, we must consider how Neuralink will impact our daily lives, behavior, ability, disabilities, while subjectively beneficial outcomes will ultimately depend on each user's optimal usage habits, which will necessitate additional research. Let's talk about that for a minute, talking about daily habits. How about you have the cartel people, or you have bank robbers? Well, there won't be any banks because we're going to a digital currency for the sake of controlling everybody. But then again, you got the Neuralink that could possibly hack accounts in the digital currency realm. But what if we have what if we simply have nefarious type of evil people that want to create criminal acts of behavior in this digital artificial intelligence realm, and the security measures simply can't keep up? That is a distinct possibility. Let's say the average run-of-the-mill break-in-your-home thief wants to. They know. Let's say you are above. You're middle class or above average. Let's say you're one of the 10% that the so-called elite will allow to actually exist because you have millions of dollars or more and you're not a leech that only eats bugs. Let's say you're in that realm. And you have those who can afford a Neuralink, and yet they want to break into your multi-million-dollar mansion because you have food, you have drink, you have sustainability, whatever it might be. And with the Neuralink, they use that to hack your domain. They use that to hack your security. They use that to hack your information. And they literally use the Neuralink to invade your private living space as well as your accounts to rob you blind and to harm your physical well-being. Is that not a possibility? Of course it's a possibility. Are they going to vet everybody to the nth degree? I don't know. I have no idea. There are concerns about long-term proof of concept, body acceptance. How about simple infection in the brain? Just simple infection. How about bad bacteria following these probes down into your brain. And here is the other one that has been highly discussed, and that is unintended negative consequences of brain chip implants, such as addictions, anxieties, or depression that may arise, I would say, not just as a result of improper use or faulty implants, but because of body rejection to foreign entities in its body. Folks, the implications are crazy. Now, let me ask you a question. Will you take the brain chip implant? Will you take the Neuralink? What if they tell you you can't maintain a digital account unless you take the implant? What if they tell you you can't go to the store and buy clothing, food, supplies if you don't take the implant? What if they tell you you can't own or drive or maintain an electric vehicle, an autonomous vehicle that would interface with your Neuralink so that when you climb into the car, it can just interface with your brain to implement its driving pattern to take you where you need to go or want to go? Or what if they tell you, and when you get into the car, what if it tells you you can't go there because we're taking you here? And you want to take this route, and it says, no, you're taking that route. And you're going back and forth within your brain with your vehicle. Will you take the implant? Whew, this is quite the conversation to have over a cup of coffee. I will tell you for myself, there is not only will I not take a jab, I'm not taking a multifaceted jab to the brain. That's not going to happen. I don't trust it at all. How about you? I'm curious to know how many people are going to take this, noting how many people actually did take the ultimate jab. How many people are going to take this because they're told to, or how many people are going to take this because they're just enthralled and infatuated with technology, with cutting edge technology, regardless of the fact that it is not fully developed, or even if it is fully developed, the potential hazards to their existence as it's designed to be. How many people are going to stand in line to give up $3,000 to $7,000 to have this put into their brain because they want to be superhuman, or because they are promised another 100 years of youthful living? How many people are going to take the jab? To me, it is a very sobering thought. Very, very sobering thought. So I'm looking forward to discussion. I'm looking forward to your thoughts on the matter. I'm looking forward to what you think and what you possibly might do with this technology that is now approved for human trial. It's only a matter of time when it becomes marketable. What will you do? If this has been an interesting discussion, if you enjoyed this video, I ask that you share, that you like, and that you subscribe. And I really want to know what your thoughts are on the matter. I also ask that you visit my store at Etsy that features my landscape photography with crossword puzzles for your for your coffee table or end table, cutting boards for your kitchen, your cabin, your man cave, coffee mugs, some of them with uplifting messages on them, with cell phone holders for your desk, and also with wall clocks featuring my photographs. If you stop and take a look, I really would appreciate it. And with that, I'm going to sign off and just say thank you once again for stopping by and being a part of this particular video and broadcast. I'm Tim Wright with Timotheus Media and TV. I'm working on slowly building a media and publishing company, and one that is centered around you, the community, that is not only vitally important, but important in ways that you have no idea, not to me, but to society and the world at large. You, by the hand of God and His design, make this world go around. Again, I'm Tim from Timotheus, and this has been a video on the discussion of Elon Musk's Neuralink implant chip. Would you, by chance, get this in your brain or not? I will see you in the next video.